It's so funny. I came over here wanting to film because I got a haircut and cut trim, and was feeling like cute, basically. And I have no plans tonight, no one to go on a date with. And so, yeah, I was like, okay, let's go ahead and film this because I know I've been wanting to sit down and chat Bridgerton season 4, the first half, before the second half drops. And okay, here's what happened. At first, I was like, I'm just gonna watch one episode and react to it a week. And I did that for the first and the second episode. And then I could not take it anymore. So I watched episode 3 and 4 together. I am still editing that. I am so sorry, but there's like so much going on in my personal life as well, and will be until like early mid-March. And so I'm just like I'm stressing and I'm so behind in everything and I'm so exhausted like all the time, and I'm trying to get to editing and pump through it, but I'm like a slow editor. I'm really bad at this. So yeah, I am like I think I still have a couple of rounds of editing to get through with episode 3 and 4 for Bridgerton season 4 before it gets up. I will hopefully get it up this weekend though. By the way, it's Friday the 20th that I'm filming this. I know I also wanted to get my thoughts out before the next drop because I have thoughts. And I'm trying to like I wrote a little bit. Wait, is this the right notebook? I have like 5 notebooks for different things. I think this is the right notebook. Anyway, um, by the way, hi YouTube friends. It's Trish here, and welcome to my little corner of the internet where I slowly unravel on camera, essentially. It's basically what it's come down to. But anyway, I wrote a little bit, so I'm gonna try that, but some of it is also just bullet pointless, and hopefully I'll remember all my thoughts because I have been chatting almost nonstop about Bridgerton with my sister, but I haven't sat down to really formulate my thoughts. And to be completely honest with you, I don't really have my thoughts formulated. So this will be interesting. I kind of did not feel like sitting and editing right now, but I also just could not turn my brain off. So I was like, okay, let's just sit and see what happens. So that's what we're doing. And yeah, I just find it ironic that what brought me here was because my hair was like trimmed today, but it's not looking on camera as I feel in person. But anyway, we're here, so we're gonna do this. Okay, let's see. Where should I start? I have like so many just random video ideas that I just like list out and take notes and write down, and eventually I'll get to it, I'm sure, at some point, maybe. I'd like to. Okay. I'm also dealing with so many tech issues, by the way. You know what? I don't need to get into that. Okay. Let's see. Bridgerton season 4, thoughts and qualms. Should I just read this page? Is that okay? Can I do that? Yeah, let's try it. Okay. Ready? Trying to keep in mind, this is only up to the halfway point of the season. I like season 4 just slightly more than season 3, and it is solely because I've always favored Benedict. And I love Violet just living her life to the fullest. I am more interested and invested in the plot lines for these characters, even if there are some qualms with the progression in their journeys, particularly in Benedict's case. I'm no writer, so I may be completely off here, but to me, this season can be broken down into 4 storylines. Plot A is, of course, Benedict and Sophie, and a spotlight on the class divide. I feel that the B plot is the Queen, Queen Charlotte, and Lady Danbury. In extension, it would be Alice and Penelope as like subplots over there. And then the C and D plots are Violet and Francesca for the C plot, and Eloise and. Um, I guess Eloise just in general. Although Hyacinth does seems to be tied up in that just a little bit. Maybe Hyacinth is the subplot to Eloise. But anyway, with like her conflict that's going on, and Francesca's conflict does affect Eloise by proxy. So really, Eloise is kind of part of the C plot line as well, just sort of like a part two. I don't know. Anyway, that was like my intro thing that I had written because it was one afternoon where I'm like, oh my god, I need to just like get some of these thoughts out. So let's see. I don't really want to start with Benedict and Sophie. So let's start Eloise because Eloise is my second Bridgerton sibling that I absolutely love. Really, Eloise and Benedict are sort of on par, and especially because they have such a close sibling bond that is just like, it's so lovely to see. So, yeah, let's go with Eloise because, oh my god, I feel for her so much. Oh, to start off all of this, the only books of the Bridgerton series I've read is Francesca's storyline. I've talked about it before. I was curious about why some of the book readers were upset by the gender switch. So, Francesca's book, and I thought Francesca's was the only one, but I do think I read Anthony's book. I don't remember a lot of it. I don't remember why I watched it, but read it, but I was curious about something. Anyway, so I lied before. I thought Francesca's was the only book because that's all I remembered. But no. I think I've read Anthony's book. Um, so anyway, Eloise. Okay. How to put this into words? I feel bad that Eloise is kind of dealing with the same issue that she has been dealing with since season one, in that essentially she's a fish out of water and like strong feminist, wants more for womankind just to be considered equals, which is what feminism started out as being. Um, but it is getting a little stale and kind of old to be rehashing the same qualms. Why is there another flight? Okay, so it is kind of the same thing. I do feel like, in a way, it's backtracking because in season one, this was her issue, but we got some moments with Eloise. Especially, I'm thinking about the moment where she comes to Daphne's ball at the end and thanks Daphne for being so perfect so she doesn't have to be. And even though I do think that that is a genuine like feeling that she has, it must be so difficult for her to be so different from what is expected, because I would assume that she's gone through her periods of times where she's like, why can't I just be like everyone else? Like, why can't I just be happy with the status quo and just go along with it, because it would make things so much easier for her, especially in the time period where nothing is going to be done about this issue, which, girl, we're still fighting the fight. So yeah, it does feel a little backtracky, especially because we get season 2 where she's expanding her horizons about like the class divide, and then over in season 3 she's dealing with like coming to terms with the betrayal really that she felt from Penelope, and not knowing that Penelope was Lady Whistledown, and then having to like be a sister to Colin, but then a friend to Eloise. To Penelope, so being sort of caught in the middle of like which would be the better like route to take through all of that. So anyway, I'm a little sad to see that, we're back at her just being annoyed with having to go through and do what she has to go through and do, and then kind of, I guess, like sitting in on Hyacinth's finishing classes and again being bombarded with the same information, but she seems to be like learning new things about it, which is like confusing to me because most likely she's already been through her own finishing classes and so would already know that, oh, if you like aim to just be on the shelf and just be a spinster because you have like this large family that can take care of you and you have so much privilege in that, if you're just going to take advantage of that privilege, she should have already known that, yeah, but you're still going to sort of be on the outskirts of things. She even has that conversation with Kate in season 2 where she's like, you seem so happy and content with being a spinster. And so, like, asking Kate about her thoughts on it. And Kate was really, like, forthcoming with, well, society doesn't work along with spinsters. And so you have to be aware of that going into it. And granted, I try to keep in mind that this is just the first 4 episodes, and I am curious to see, after we got that heartbreaking, like, comment from Hyacinth's, like, stating that, I thought you just liked me less, but no, you're just sort of selfish. And it's like, that was so heartbreaking because the first part of it, you're like, oh my god, Hyacinth, you felt like not liked by your sister, like by your sibling. That's so heartbreaking for Hyacinth, but then to say that to Eloise, which I can see why from her point of view it does seem like that, because Eloise is sort of so enriched in how annoyed she is with her lot in life, essentially, and what she has to just relegate herself to do, and she can't really get out of it, but she's so focused on like how unfair life is for her that it would get, she's basically, what do they call it, like a wet blanket, like it would be annoying just to spend time around someone who is such a Debbie Downer, who is constantly sort of annoyed and complaining and just not in a good mood. And so I feel for like everyone involved in that situation. I am curious in what she does moving forward in the next 4 episodes. I'm sort of feeling like Eloise's storyline in this season is so similar to how I felt about Benedict's storyline in season 3, where it's just like, okay, they're there. Like, remember that they do exist because their season is coming up soon. So, like, don't forget, but also, like, we're not going to give them really anything to do. I don't know. She did so much in season 2 and season 3 that I'm like, why are we back to season 1 Qualms? You know? So, yeah. I think that would be all I have to say about Eloise. So let's move on to Violet and Francesca. I mean, separately, but they sort of share, I think, like the C plot storyline. How many plots are allowed? Again, not a writer. I have no idea. By the way, I'm clipping these bangs back because they're annoying the shit out of me. So that may look funny, but ow! Ow! Don't think I have anything else. I don't know what I had clipped on earlier back there, but that hurt. Yeah, that'll do. Okay. Violet and Francesca. Let's start with Violet because there's a little less to say there than what I have to say about Francesca. Violet, I'm just so happy for her. I don't think that there's really that much to say over there, actually. I'm so happy that she is allowing herself a chance to just live her life and be happy. And, I can only imagine how difficult that must be because, she went through her depression, her period of like her dark ages after Edmund passed away. Seemingly, it took a lot to bring her out of that, and then she just threw herself into her children and preparing them for coming out and guiding them through, all of that. Now it's like, okay, the elder siblings are sort of married off and partnering off, and yeah, she still has her younger two, but it is sort of coming to a time where, as they keep like saying in this show, where it is like, you know, life should be lived and stuff like that. And now she is allowing herself that grace and time to enjoy the life that she is living. And I love that for her. I love that Mrs. Wilson is just like, oh, girl, I got you. We can do evening teas. Do it over here. I will stand guard. It'll be fine. Like, I was so worried that Benedict was going to catch, was going to catch her that night, but nope, 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 nope. Other things were on his mind. So, yeah, I'm so happy for Violet. I'm so happy that she found such a, like, patient and kind gentleman in Marcus, right? Lord Anderson. But he's just like, I love the dynamic over there. I love that he gives her space to, because she rambles a little bit, right? When, like me. But like when she's nervous and wanting to like try to get her thoughts out, but you know, a little embarrassed to really talk about what's on her mind, but also wanting to. It's just, it's so lovely to see that he just sort of gives her space to get everything out. And even when he is like going up to speak because he thinks that, okay, that was it, and she's like, no, 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 there's more. He's like, oh, okay, you have the floor, you know? It's just, it's so lovely. He's just so reassuring with her, and it's such a safe place for her to really start opening up and, you know, feeling not pressured in any which way, like to do anything or not to do anything. It's just, we will go at your pace as you intend for whatever you want to do. I'm game. I am just happy to be in your presence. Like, so I am just fully enjoying watching Violet. So that is all hunky dory. She did kind of like, she tried her best in explaining the pinnacle to Francesca. I do think she did marginally better than she did with Daphne, but you know, that is something that's so difficult to put into words. And I think Violet is such a like a love and enriched individual that she thinks of things in such a poetic way, and she's like trying to explain things with so much feeling involved, whereas like Francesca really just kind of wanted the straightforward clinical, what is it, like I don't know what it is. You have Violet over there just being like, it's a wonderful thing, it's when, you know, you speak the same language and all this kind of stuff, which is like, I get what she's saying. I was like, yes, I'm on board. But then you hear like Penelope later tell Francesca, it's like, oh yeah, no, that is technically what a pinnacle is. which, which is what Francesca needed. So, you know, she was almost there. So yeah, Violet, love. Love, 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 love everything. It's, I literally am kind of watching the season for Violet at this point. Especially after Benedict's last line. But anyway, I get it. I will get there. I will get to Benedict. Don't worry. But let's do Francesca first. Now, I'm so how do we want to talk about this? I want to be uh it's so difficult. I don't want to like say things the wrong way. I am not part of, I don't think, the LGBTQ plus community at large. But I do like, how to explain. I feel like being like, I'm an ally. It just like sounds so blasé these days, but I have no other way of saying that. I just, to me, love is a beautiful thing, and I love seeing any sort of reflection of love. Even though personally, for my own love life, I'm quite jaded and cynical, but that's like a whole different story. But like in terms of watching these stories, I mean, we just had heated rivalry. Although the internet is kind of going a little insane over there. You like, guys, the actors are actors that are playing these roles. Let's just Let's let people live their lives as they would like, kind of the whole point of what was being told in Heated Rivalry. I think some people need to go see it one more time and really pay attention. But anyway, it was like, it's really beautiful to see these stories come onto the screen and really get an understanding for like the struggles that the LGBTQ plus community should not go through. I hate that they go through the issues that they do, because it's like, love is such a beautiful thing. Why are we debating on it? Like, it's not something you quantify and you like tick off or anything. Like, it's just, anyway, I can't get into that conversation. So the reason why I had read Francesca's book is because a lot of the book readers were upset because of how changing the gender for her love interest would, like, how that will be handled in altering. Oh, how far do I want to talk about this? Because I like don't want to go into spoilers. Or do I have to go into spoilers in order to talk about this? Hold on, give me a second. Let me try to talk about it not going into spoilers. And if I do have to go into spoilers, I'll let you guys know. Okay? So, here we go. With Francesca, when you consider her storyline in the books, her and John are very much in love. And they have a full, beautiful relationship. And so in season 3, my qualms are more so with the feeling of almost undercutting this beautiful relationship that she does have with John, because it does feel like the show is potentially leaning towards, at least, okay, the way the shots are going, the scenes are going, especially with her and Michaela, which, like, we've only had 2. Anyway, okay. It seems like they're going to say that Francesca is likely, like, full lesbian. And that's why she's, like, having bedroom complications in actually reaching her pinnacle with John. And the show is showing how in love with each other they are. At least I feel like it. It does look like Francesca does love John. She just gets a little startled whenever Michaela's around. And it is sweet and adorable, and I don't want to take that away. I want to handle this conversation as delicately as I can, because I'm not upset by the gender switch. I am upset is such a strong word. I'm not exactly ecstatic about the change for what it means with, like, her and John's love story, because we spend the majority of season 3 with her having to plead her case with her mom, who is so into love. And I was so surprised that Violet wasn't on board at first for Francesca and John's connection. I'm just like, Violet, you're the love girl. Like, this one's loud, so I'll wait. So yeah, I was really shocked because Violet is so much about love and finding your, like, in her eyes, it does kind of feel like true love, like the one true love, like finding the one person that you just click with, that everything falls into place, that, and she does lean a little bit more on the passionate side, like things are just so many butterflies, so many fluttering emotions, so many, like, just intense feelings. And I do get that, and that's why I was like, okay, I'm a little surprised that she's not on board, but alright, she's expecting to see love between 2 individuals in a certain way. It's how she felt with Edmund, it's how she is seeing, like, you know, Anthony with Kate and Daphne with Simon. Like, there's almost an electricity in the way that they look at each other. And so I was able to sort of, like, follow through with the story, even though I was a little surprised. But then you're spending the whole season with Francesca really fighting for the connection she has with John. They are in love, and they are a quieter love, but it's showing, you know, these beautiful different ways that love just shows up between people. And then on her wedding day, Violet is almost explaining, why she didn't see the love between them in the beginning. Basically, talking about how, well, the first time I met your father, I was so nervous and everything that I forgot my own name. I was so flustered and all of these kinds of things. And then we see that happen with Francesca when she meets Michaela. And I don't want to take away from how sweet that is. It is, but it does almost undercut the real connection she has with John. She kisses John at their wedding. Like, that is the first time she's kissing John. And you see this reaction to it as she pulls away, where, like, she's almost surprised and shocked. She almost expected to feel more, I think, in that kiss. These are the reasons why I do think they are in the show changing her to just be lesbian and so not feel romantic or feel sexual attraction to men. And so in that respect, I do get it and I see what the show is doing, but in doing that, I feel like it takes away from the beauty that is her love with John. And, in this season, they're having the whole issue with the pinnacle, but you do still get these lovely scenes of her and John together and him reassuring her when he does find out about her never having reached her pinnacle, and how she's taking that internally and almost like annoyed and angry with herself because she's so sure this is what's keeping them from having children, because at that time I guess he was thinking that, oh, I did hear that maybe reaching pinnacles would help in like getting pregnant. And so, he's so gentle and kind and loving with her, and you can see how much she loves him too. But Michaela shows up at the end of episode 4, and you see that Francesca is still flustered by her. And again, super adorable. I love it. I wish I wish I felt that she felt that her love with John is a complete and beautiful love. Because in the books, I'm not sure if this constitutes as a spoiler, but just in case you want to absolutely avoid everything that has to do with Francesca's storyline, I would fast forward to the 31-minute mark. Okay, carry on. That is the case. Like, she has a wonderful marriage with John, and then later we'll have a wonderful connection with Michael, now Michaela, and she will basically just be lucky to have had two beautiful loves in her life. And it's kind of what we're seeing with Violet now, where it's like Violet had a beautiful relationship, marriage, everything with Edmund. Edmund was her life. And now she's allowing herself to start something new with Lord Anderson that is equally as beautiful, just maybe slightly, different, obviously, because it's a different person. And so it's just showing even more so different aspects of love, or like perspectives of love, and like how you can have sort of multiple relationships that are beautiful connections. And I guess I just really want to feel from Francesca that she loves John. And I think she does. But because the show is writing seemingly in this direction that she is lesbian, it kind of does take away from the connection she has with John a little bit. And so it's something that I'm sort of talking myself into seeing and believing. Because, yeah, she did marry the guy, because she loved him. So, yeah. I don't know what I want or what change they could have made to like make that transition a little easier to view, because in the books the two loves, her and John, and then her and Michael, are two separate things on different timelines, whereas over here in the show there's a slight overlapping happening, which is another factor into why this is like, it feels like it's undercutting her beautiful relationship with John. So I'm just sort of like, And like, yeah, I'm curious as to what like some of the book readers were, I guess, upset by with the gender switch for Michael to Michaela, is how Francesca's like conflict in that story will be handled. I think we'll just see it in a different fashion, which will just be like same problem, different outcome in a different way. And I have like ideas and thoughts as to how that could happen, but I won't talk about it because spoilers, I guess. So yeah, hopefully I explained that well. I still love Francesca, I love John, and I'm intrigued by Michaela. I need to see more of her, which obviously we will now that she's here, but we literally only have the two scenes to go off of. At the very end of season 3, them meeting each other for the first time, and then here when she arrives. Both times it's like she's definitely a firecracker, a very bold personality type, which a lot of these love interests for the Bridgertons are. Um, and so like you totally get it. She is an an individual that's hard to resist myths. She's beautiful, all of the things. I need to know more about her, and I'm so curious as to her point of view in all of this, because we also have to keep in mind like the time period and the whole like, same sex liking same sex. So anyway, I think that's all I had to say about Francesca. So let's move on to Queen Charlotte, Lady Danbury, and an extension, Alice and Penelope. Okay. This is complicated. It's just like, I don't really know what my thoughts are on about the Queen and Lady Danbury and how Charlotte is terrified of Lady Danbury leaving because she will be alone with possibly George passing soon, and how she will cope and manage through that on her own, which I totally get. But also, Lady Danbury does have her own life and should be allowed to visit home if she wants. And I thought she was just going to go for a visit and come back, but my sister and I were talking about it, and she was like, no, I think Lady Danbury wants to move. Like, I think they're writing her out of the show. And I was like, what? No! So, did not think about it in that terms, and I'm like so saddened by that thought, but I also get it. Like, I don't want to hold it against actors who decide to leave shows. Um, but like in terms of character stuff, it is sort of like sad, but at the same time, there's so many characters in this show. Yeah, with Charlotte and Lady Danbury, if we're like taking out possibly the actress who's playing Lady Danbury leaving the show. But just think about it in terms of the storyline. I don't know what side I lean towards. I understand both sides, and I kind of hate it. And then with Lady Danbury kind of priming Alice to be her replacement, to be a new lady in waiting to the Queen, to be her friend so that Lady Danbury can leave. For Lady Danbury, this is a win-win situation. It's, hey, you could really actually be Charlotte's friend for when I won't be here. You could step in my shoes because you actually could, or in this case, make your own shoes. But like, you have the chops to do this, and it is good for you to do this. It is an honor to be a lady in waiting to the Queen. Like, their family would probably get so much out of this, like only great things for Alice, but at the same time it is like, and I also get my freedom. So you are doing this. But I totally get Alice and feeling like you kind of just made these decisions for me. I kind of had no say in this. And it wasn't something that was on my radar for what I wanted to do, which I do find interesting because from season 3, Alice has been trying to be noticed by the queen. She was so worried about throwing a ball last season, making sure that it was going to be something that the queen would take notice of. And she succeeded. And then in this season at the Masquerade Ball, she's like, okay, we should probably go say hello. It's like, well, you don't have to. It does feel like she's choosing to and wanting to. So I do think that there is an interest. So it should be good, her being the next lady in waiting, um, and possibly able to become friends with Charlotte. I don't, I'm not sure how that friendship looks, because there's also an age gap. Like, it's not just way different stations. She's literally going from a boxer's wife to a club owner's wife to now, what position does her son have? I don't remember. Was he a baron or I don't even remember the rankings, so honestly, I don't need to get into that, but the mother of someone who is inheriting this large estate. So it's just like each season she's like bumping up in station, but still to go from just being a boxer's wife to lady in waiting to the queen is insane and a lot of pressure to take on and worry over there, but also cool. Like, let's do this. I don't know. So, looking forward to seeing how she, makes her own shoes. um, Obviously, the person that she thought would be Benedict's lady with the glove was not the case. So curious as to how Charlotte is going to take that out on Alice, possibly. But I don't feel like Charlotte's heart is really that into Benedict's love, like Qualms. I I don't know. Um, Poor Pen is just stuck, and I'm curious to see how they get her out of the situation because she just doesn't look happy outside of having fun with her husband, which is like going wonderfully. But outside of that, she just doesn't look like she's enjoying being Lady Whistledown anymore because, I mean, everyone and their grandmother knows that she's Lady Whistledown. And so there's just no intrigue there anymore. And in fact, it's just she's on the other end of clear manipulations from everybody, not just the queen who wants to have the column go a specific way. And then being sort of like bullied into being in a wager, apparently. Do you know what I just realized? Where's Genevieve, the modiste? Like, we haven't seen her at all. No explanation as to where she's gone either. She's just out. She's been there since season 1. Okay. She's also been one of Benedict's lovers in the past. Like, okay, maybe she doesn't constitute as an ex because their relationship seemed casual enough, but it did feel like something was there, you know? I don't know. I just, my girl deserved better. Okay, carry on. So I don't know what they're gonna do there, but I hope she gets out of this somehow. Okay. Was there anything else over there? Okay. Benedict and Sophie. There's like so much to say there that my mind is drawing a blank right now. Okay. Benedict and Sophie. I do understand that Benedict not noticing that Sophie is the young lady that he made a connection with at the masquerade ball. Like, I understand that that comes down to he is not expecting the young lady he met to be a maid. I do understand that. I know so many people are like, she's the only Asian girl of like four Asians in the ton, and it's like, no, no, no. Like, I do get it. But like that aside, that was just such an icky situation, right? Like he's saying all of it. Okay, first he does that on the staircase, which is like totally okay. I get it. Tensions high, a lot of sexual frustrations from both sides, and like this has just been mounting, so to say, for the past few episodes. Like it was sort of bound to happen. They've already kissed before. So like I get it. And then he's like saying all these lovely things to her right afterwards, only for that to be leading up for him to say in the like almost, it's not slimy, but like the audacity that he has as he's saying it. He's smirking. He's so sure she's going to be like ecstatic to be his mistress because of course she would. Why wouldn't she? She's a maid. It's the best that could happen to her. Benedict. And it's just like, listen, leads are supposed to make mistakes because we are watching them build themselves up from that. But I don't think we should be getting the ick while watching while watching our leads, because it's like you can be annoyed with your leads. Hell, we were annoyed with Anthony. We were annoyed with the Duke of Hastings. Oh my god, what was his name? Simon. Jesus Christ, I'm so sorry. But like we were annoyed with Simon, and last season we were semi annoyed with Colin. Sure, he was being annoying. But this season, I'm getting the ick from Benedict. And it's just like, that's not a good place to be in. Be annoyed with your leads because they're being stupid. And they're being stupid because they have to build up from that. And I get it. I do. I just. What? And the thing is, it's like, okay, I can, like, put it together and understand that from Benedict's point of view, he means this in a loving way. He's watching his friend who has fallen in love with I think she's an actress, right? And so he, lovingly, so blissfully happy was like, "Oh, I've asked her to be my mistress and she's accepted." And so we're so in love and we're moving in together, and like this guy's already married to someone. So Benedict is looking at this like, oh, well, that's like the best case scenario for us because of the position we're in and with society being as it is. Like, you are a maid, I can't marry you, but hey, you can be my mistress and I'll like take care of you and we can be together that way in love. And it's like they're not even in love right now. And maybe Sophie is falling in love with Benedict, but I don't think he loves her. I think he is so drawn to her. I think he is kind of obsessed with her, but I don't think he's really falling in love. I don't know. Then again, he is drawing her, so maybe. And that's the thing, right? It's like I do get that from Benedict's side, but God, you had to be so icky in how you asked her. After saying these beautiful things that every girl wants to hear from a guy, and then you end it with, be my mistress. And it's just like, Benedict! And I'm so annoyed. And it's just like, okay, I got I got annoyed with Simon because it's like, Simon, Daphne, communicate. Open up to each other. Simon, let her know how bad it is how bad it was with your dad, leading to why you made the decision you made, because then we can move forward and get somewhere with this. And it took way too long for them to have that conversation, but I get it. Like, they have to stretch this over the 8 episodes, I guess. And then with Anthony, you're just like, once you start learning more about his backstory and how he had to step up so suddenly and not just be like the man of the house, his mother then became just so depressed, and so he had to take on that as well. And it was so much. And you do, and I'm and the elder sibling, so it's like I also get it from that point of view. I understood Kate and Anthony's struggle and why they were almost like not seeing that they were falling for each other because it was like same recognizing same, you know? And so that was frustrating and annoying when he proposed to Edwina and even is going forward and getting married to her. Like, so annoying, but at least you kind of understood why, like his thought process. And over here again, it's like, yeah, I kind of understand why, but why does this one feel so icky? And is it just because of the way he asked Sophie? And it's just like, oh my god. And with, I mean, like Anthony went forward with marrying Edwina because Kate asked him to. Because Edwina told Kate that she loved Anthony, then like Kate was like, I can't break her heart. So you have to marry her. Which, like, insane. But over there, Anthony was marrying Edwina because ultimately Kate asked him to. Over here, Benedict is asking Sophie to be his mistress because that's what he wants. That is how he sees that they can be together. And he's like not explaining any of that to Sophie and is just instead being like, oh, she'll be so for this. Oh my god. Okay. And then like Sophie, I'm ready to learn. What is it? What is it? Where does her necklace come from? Is she actually nobility and has been, stuck in this situation because of what other people have told her? I mean, she says that she's the daughter of a nobleman, but obviously in that society, like her being illegitimate, she's not recognized as his child. He even introduced her as his ward, someone that he's just responsible for essentially. So it's like, is she actually not? Or is she actually a maid? And then obviously she's right now operating from, I'm a maid. And so I can't be with Benedict, even though there is something over here, there's something pulling us together that we can't do that. I'm a maid. Like, so I'm ready for that. I need to know. Like, give me the information already. I really hate it. I really hate it. And then like Lady Pennywood, what is it? Anyway, the stepmother and her stepsisters now moved next door. Oh, that's messy. Um, was that it? Oh, the class divide. I touched on it a little bit, with this whole Benedict and Sophie being from different classes and how that's working against them. We had a little bit with Charlotte and Lady Danbury, like the whole argument of, well, Lady Danbury is her subject, but it's complicated. Like, they also have this lifelong friendship, and that should count for something. And the whole maid wars and Varley, now apparently working for the stepmother. of Sophie, so I kind of wonder if later she's going to turn double agent and somehow come back. I am curious as to how that is going to get patched up between Lady Featherington and Varley. I'm really appalled that Lady Featherington went in that direction with Varley. I don't understand why. I mean, I guess because she's high in her instep, as Daphne put it. But it's just like she, Lady Featherington, is a lady. She does have that pride. Ugh, this is so bright. Hold on. Thank you. I should have done that a while ago. So yeah, she does have that pride over there in being of a station that she's at, and I guess her ego is getting bruised that Varley would dare to ask for what she's owed. Anyway, I don't know. Oh, I had written something about the class divide. Hold on. Class divide in Bridgerton. Let's wait for this slide to go. And then I guess I'll end it with this. Oh yeah, it's actually a few pages. I had written these notes like a week ago, I think. Okay. The class divide in Bridgerton. This season is eye-opening. Thanks to the position that Sophie has been forced into, we see into the divide between the upstairs and the downstairs. After Sophie is banished from her childhood home, Lady Pennywood, anyway, has to hire multiple maids to pick up all the work that she used to handle on her own, without compensation. This causes the maid wars, in which we see the beginnings of staff asking for proper compensation for the grueling and laborious work that they do, as they should. This all did not surprise me. No, what gave me pause was Sophie standing outside of the room that the brothers had made a mess of after their shaving cream fight, and she's seen a maid on her hands and knees wiping up the mess. I had mixed emotions. First, embarrassment at laughing in merriment to the teasing between brothers. I've always enjoyed these little sibling moments that the show has to showcase the lovely bonds between the Bridgerton siblings as a large and close, loving family. But seeing Sophie watch a maid clean the mess made me feel embarrassed that the brothers made such a mess. Then, however, the rational side of me popped up saying, hold on, this may be blunt, but this is part of her job. As a maid in a house, these would fall under her requirements. Now we can go on to discuss that she is not afforded opportunities to explore other professional pursuits, and that for sure royally sucks, but needs to be tabled for now, as unfortunately this is how life was lived at that time. Next, I'm remembering Violet checking in with Mrs. Wilson, and how Eloise brightly, warmly greeted John upon arriving home from Scotland, Daphne and Rose's borderline friendship in season 1, and even Benedict at the end of episode 2 assuring Sophie that he was raised to respect maids, and she will be safe with him. The Bridgertons are seen to be overly respectful and generous with their staff. Daphne gave the Cliveden staff the day off to enjoy the festival in season 1. If I were of the working class of this time, I'd aim for Bridgerton House. However, standing in the hall, looking in on this maid cleaning the floors, on her hands and knees, does strike something within. No matter how kind and generous and respectful the Bridgertons are, there is a clear divide between the upstairs and the downstairs, even in the Bridgerton house. And those boys playing with shaving cream, flinging gobs of it at each other in jovial merriment as it misses its mark and splats on the cabinet behind them, they do not even give half a thought that after they leave, someone will come in and clean up after them on their hands and knees. And so now I am so curious on how Sophie will enter this family as a maid turned the second son's wife. I think we all know that Sophie is endgame, and despite Benedict boshing it up and asking her to be his mistress, they will somehow get past that. And the drama of her being a literal maid he has fallen for, and she will become his wife. How will the other Bridgertons take it? I actually don't know. Obviously, the married ones would likely be huge advocates for true love, having found it and basking in bliss since, but with the maid? They would be forced to look at their privilege straight in the face and come to terms with their actions. Because up until now, they knew about the separation, but do they truly understand it? Will this lead to change in the structure of society? A forming of rights for the working class? It seems silly to think this one love story could lead to systematic change, but hey, one love story led to the end of racism in this world. So why not? So, this did remind me of like curiosities that I had for Sophie's character because she is coming from being a maid. That's how everyone is viewing her right now. And we did see in the preview, I don't think Violet is going to be on board for this because it would bring scandal to the family, I guess, which I find just so hilarious. Like, him being a man in this time can't marry who he wants to marry, apparently. And I just find that so funny because they can do whatever the fuck they want in every other regard. So it's just like, I'm sorry, what? But anyway, it's like he can't marry her. When again, it's like, does he even actually love Sophie? I don't know. That's what the show is telling me. So I guess I'm just gonna go with it. Because even though I do like these actors, and like, I do feel it when they have their moments where they're like drawn to each other, but it does read as more sexual chemistry than it does like love, you know? So there's that. I almost feel like I will be annoyed if it comes out that, oh, she's not actually a maid, like she actually is from nobility or whatever and is part of the ton, just hasn't lived her life like that, because it'll feel a little bit like, oh, here's this magical, like, obstacle obliterator. So it was never an issue to begin with. So will it truly be, forbidden love at the end of it? I'm not really sure. I don't know. I didn't read Benedict's book, so I have no idea. I just find it interesting. Like, Sophie is literally a maid in this house. And likely she is endgame, so likely her and Benedict are going to get married. And I'm just so curious as to how that transition plays out from literally dressing Hyacinth and sitting in on Eloise as like she's probably dressing Eloise as well. So like literally being their lady's maid to then being their sister-in-law. Yeah, I don't know. In showing us that shot where she's standing outside that room watching this maid cleaning, it is just sort of like the Bridgertons don't really think about how much work probably goes into them just living their lives. Like they know it, but do they know it? Is sort of my point. It's like another small example. We know that Gregory loves jellies. So the kitchens have made jellies for him. And he comes back and he's like, oh, no, no, no. I'm like much too refined for that now. So it's like all of these jellies that have been made are probably going to go, well, uneaten by the Bridgertons, and likely the staff will be eating them. So it's like, yes, the Bridgertons are very generous and kind and respectful with their staff, but it is still like the staff is the staff. As Barley was saying, like, we're not family. You are my employer. I am still your employee. There is still that very visual and apparent line over there that, like, you can't just ignore. So when Sophie joins the family as sister-in-law, it's just what change might be happening at the Bridgerton house and the dynamic between staff and family. I'm curious if there will be anything, or even just in the greater system of the ton. Like, we are seeing how these families that are losing their maids to Lady Pennywood are having to, through the hard way, learn how much they depend on their staff. And so it is like, well, I hope what comes out of this is some sort of system in which there are benefits and, all of that kind of stuff for the working class. But, and they kind of brought that up in the second season when Eloise went to go meet Theo at one of the rallies and stuff. We were hearing some of the speeches on the stage from these individuals talking about rights. Is Bridgerton going to get into politics? Especially in the climate that we're at in the US right now. It's just, I don't know. I like, just some thoughts that have been rolling in my head, and now I've said it all out, and I think that was everything. And I know this is just the first 4 episodes. We'll have to see how the story, pans out in the next 4 episodes. But damn, it's just the conflicts in the season almost feel greater and like bigger stakes than we've had in previous seasons, I think. That's outside of the romantic connection between our two main leads, where they are almost just the vessel for this larger conversation. And it's sort of changing what I think viewers initially were going to Bridgerton as, like just this fluffy, hot, just hot people doing hot things. And we're coming here, we're sat and here for the tea. Sorry, the double innuendo now with Violet's evening teas. But, it was more leaning towards that kind of stuff, but now we're entering into interesting territory. And in season 1, I think we all thought it was colorblind casting until episode 4 when Lady Danbury is talking about one of them chose one of us, and you're just like, oh, so they do see color. How is this not more of a thing? And it was like this weird sort of utopian society in which racism just didn't exist anymore. Yet, yet there's like apparent homophobia. I don't know. It's just like it's so much to take in, and then I'm just sat here and all of it is just like circling in my head, and you're just like, so what does this show want to be? I feel for the majority of it, it's just like hot and heavy drama, almost like a guilty pleasure type show, you know. Yes, romance heavy, but then they will have these moments where it's like they want to talk about these big things, but then the way those like big issues, real issues, are handled is sort of like Disneyfied. And that gets interesting. So anyway, those are my thoughts for part 1 of season 4, the first 4 episodes. I am really curious as to, oh my goodness, I've just been holding my shirt down that whole time. That's so embarrassing. I'm sorry, guys. It's really awkward. Um, I might have been a little all over the place in this episode. This video. I'm so sorry. I'm just like, I'm a little out of it. And just, I didn't really come with a clear cut plan. I was just sort of like, you know what? I think I'm just gonna turn on the camera and just like ramble. And try to put it together in some semblance of a video format when I get to editing. But first, I need to finish editing episode 3 and 4. So I will get to that first, and I will try to be quick about this video So if there's not that many edits in this one, as in like adding scenes from the show, because that's what I was doing in my later videos in my Kisses Through My Ages series, where I'm breaking down love stories and ranking the final kisses from the movies on a tier ranking list that I made. But anyway, in the like the more recent of those videos, I was sort of developing this new format that I'm really kind of enjoying and want to get back to, but I just don't have the time right now. But, you know, where when I'm talking about things, having the clip play as well, because I'm such a visual person that I find that I enjoy, you know, commentary videos that do that kind of stuff. So I really want to, but it does take a lot more time to be able to do that. And with the tech issues I'm having recently, I don't think that will be happening for this video, so it might just be my face. And apparently I'm like yanking down my shirt. Like my hair is just not hairing as I feel comfortably. So anyway, but all of that aside, thank you if you got through this mess, for being here. I do want to hear what you guys think about the first batch of episodes, as I've been watching so many people's YouTube videos on it. um, let's just add to the conversation even more. Yeah, next I guess we're doing the next batch of episodes for season 4. I will okay. Uh, I might do the same thing I did this time, because the stuff that's going on in my life is also amping up, so I don't know if I can handle the 2 episodes of video because it just takes so long to edit those. But at the same time, I'm like, but that means I have to wait week to week to watch the episodes. Because I don't have the space in which to just like binge it and then edit it on my own time. I'm so like not good at this. But anyway. I hope you still enjoy watching whatever ends up coming out. So thank you for your time. And I guess I'll see you in the next one. uh, Toodles.